Welcome to stage 3 of the Benelux tour. With 25 kilometers to ride, we have 3 breakaways, including yesterday's stage winner, ML Meyer. We also have Tristan Romes and Eloisa Donna. So their lead over the peloton is dwindling. ML Meyer won the time trial yesterday and has scored some points in their intermediate sprints, and I think he wants to score some more, because he could try and go for the lead in the points classification. However, he's lost too much time to take the lead in the GC, even if he were to get the time bonuses, because he did lose some time on stage 1. So that is the race situation at the moment. None of the sprinters getting involved for these time bonus sprints, because these 3 riders are taking all of the time bonuses. We'll see a big sprint royale at the end of the stage today, so it's possible we see yet another leader of the Benelux tour. It's currently Otis Grimsby of the Hackett team, but he's not known as a great sprinter, so the likes of Johnny Wouters, Miroslav Kostra, and Robel Nagasi could try and take the lead with a time bonus sprint at the end of the stage. We see Grimsby here with a couple of his teammates in the peloton. Very strong rider in the time trials and the flat races. Had a top 5 finish in Paris-Roubaix, so not the first time he's gotten a good result this season. We're approaching the golden kilometer now, those 3 consecutive time bonus sprints. It looks like the breakaway is going to get there first. The peloton trying to chase these 3 back, but it's not going to happen, and Tristan Romes will take the first time bonus. I think ML Meyer is just about cracked here. So we'll see if the peloton can catch these 3 before the final sprint point. And I don't think that's going to happen either, so the sprinters completely blocked out of the time bonuses out on the course. They'll just go down to the final sprint at the end of the stage. AlphaTauri and Castelli doing a lot of the work in the peloton today, clearly with their 2 big sprinters in mind, being Heinrich Kromer and Davide Lagana. So we'll see what they have planned for the final kilometers of the stage. For Castelli, it looks like just to put Florence Haas on the front of the race and dare anyone else to take up the pacemaking. The same goes for Adrian Bernard and AlphaTauri. We'll see if the other sprinters get involved as well. Someone like Ishikawa Kitetsu, who won that sprint stage on stage 1. And Robel Nagasi has been sprinting very well in some of the recent races, including those flat classics, so I'm interested to see how he goes in the final kilometer today. 3Ks to go now. AlphaTauri and Castelli looking the most organized. Kitetsu in the wheel of Davide Lagana. I think Kazim Benabi up there as well, he's well up on GC. Saw the green jersey of Johnny Wouters. Approaching the Foam Rouge now. Lagana again starts to sprint very, very early. The chase down coming from Johnny Wouters and Heinrich Kromer. But this time Lagana has got it right and he will take the stage win for stage 3 of the Benelux tour. For a second there I thought he made the same mistake as he made on stage 1, but not this time. A good lead out and a very powerful sprint. And the other sprinters had no answer for that, finishing a couple bike lengths behind. So Lagana will also take that 10-second time bonus, and Johnny Wouters needed to win the stage to take the race lead in the Benelux tour, because he was 7 seconds down at the start of the race. He will only get 6 for finishing second, so I believe Otis Grimsby should remain the race leader. We'll see how it shakes out in the standings. So your stage result starts with Davide Lagana of Castelli picking up another victory, then Johnny Wouters of Euskottel Euskadi, Heinrich Kromer of AlphaTauri, Robel Nagasi of Doimo is 4th, and Miroslav Kostra 5th for Sismic. Kitetsu only in 10th place, so no time bonuses or points in the points classification. In the GC, Otis Grimsby remains the race leader by a single second ahead of Johnny Wouters. Yannick Verhoeven now 3rd place. Lucas Venninger 4th at 7 seconds. Kazim Benabi 5th at 8 seconds. And you see the first 10 riders separated by just a handful of seconds. But the final 3 stages will do something about that, because they're a lot harder than the flat stages so far. Davide Lagana moving up as well, he's now into 13th place, 15 seconds behind Grimsby. In the points jersey competition, Johnny Wouters is the leader by 8 points ahead of Davide Lagana, Kromer, Benabi, and Nagasi, not too far behind. I think that jersey will go down to the final stage. Very close competition. no points scored for the Mountains jersey as it's been so far. That will not change till stage 6, and Kyoto remain the leaders in the team classification. It's been a good race for the sprinters so far, and they'll have another stage to themselves tomorrow because stage 4 is also flat, although a little bit more difficult than what we've seen so far, so we'll see if that changes the tactics and which riders are up there at the end of the race. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for stage 4. Welcome to stage 4 of the Benelux tour. Around 25 kilometers to ride here, a bit more actually, but the peloton is all intact. The only breakaway was Manuel Navarro's solo attack, but he was caught around halfway through the stage. It was a brave move, but he's been brought back into the field. There were some sprints early on, and the time bonuses going to Kasper Bosman's, Miroslav Kostra, and Davide Lagana. So those sprinters in a position to move up on GC, and especially Miroslav Kostra, because I think if he gets another time bonus, he could become the race leader ahead of Otis Grimsby. So Grimsby needs to think about sealing some time bonuses for himself, or making sure that Kostra doesn't get any more of those time bonuses. So we'll see how Hackett chooses to approach the end of the stage here, because Grimsby is not a very good sprinter. Their best sprinter is Mario Mazziota, but he has been a bit invisible so far in the Benelux Tour. He's not been seen at the front of the race. We're coming up to another intermediate sprint now, and Kasper Bosmans and Kostra are going for it. Bosmans will take the 6-second time bonus, Kostra the 4-second time bonus, plus the associated points for that points jersey. So I think that should give Kostra the lead in the general classification. We'll see what happens at the end of the stage because there's still more time bonuses. And this is an attack by Blaise Robillard, sprinter for Nautalia. An unexpected move, but we're onto a sharp little climb here. And Lucas Venninger is trying to bring this back. Very on brand for Nautalia to try something like this. Very aggressive attacking team. Won a lot of different races by sending riders up in the breakaways and trying moves just like this one. But look at Doimo, they got so many riders at the front of this main field. They know that Nagasi is on good form, their air-trained sprinter, so they want to get him to the finish. And Miroslav Kostra himself is chasing this down, and it's split up the main field. Look at all these different groups starting to form now. With 10 kilometers to go, the race is starting to get broken into pieces. So that cheeky attack by Blaise Robillard has caused more damage than we thought it would. But Doimo resuming control at the front, at least for now. Looks like Nagasi is safely in that group of 4 Doimo riders. There's Charativat. He needs to get going in this race. No good results in the sprints so far. I think Bosmans is up there for Jupiler. Miroslav Kostra in position. Heinrich Kromer needs to get some teammates up here. Think about the lead out of the sprint. This time it's Gonzalo Galvez of Nautalia. So Nautalia clearly have a plan, and it's to not contest the sprint straight up, but to try and steal the result with one of their own sprinters. Another very aggressive tactic here by Nautalia. Ludwig Kona of Castelli wants to chase this down. 3 kilometers to ride. You have a climber in Luis Sancho who's trying to bring this back. He needs to keep it at least under control because Peloton will be very fast in the sprint. And look at Doimo's lead-out train now. Nagasi on the front. He needs to have a lead-out, but he doesn't. Kona and Galvez going for it. They're being caught. Nagasi going for the stage win, but he's getting overhauled by Sofian Germuni at the finish line. So it's Valnor's second sprinter, Germuni, who takes the glory. Charativat nowhere to be seen. But Germuni is so clutch in that way, because when you think Charativat is totally washed away, he comes through and he wins the bike race. I think that's his 3rd win of the season. He's won 2 big classics, and now he has a win inside of a stage race. Doimo had it, and then they didn't. Nagasi just not quite fast enough. I think if he had a better lead out, he would have taken that stage win. And kudos to Nautalia for trying some attacks there. as they came pretty close with Robillard and Gonzalo Galvez. So your stage result for stage 4 starts with Sofiane Tremouni of the VeloTour team taking the victory, Robel Nagasi of Doimo in second place. He's had quite a good tour here in Belgium and Luxembourg. Tony Kiergo of Doimo in third place, and he is up on GC and he will get a time bonus for that result. So that is not to be overlooked. Javier Lopez 4th for AlphaTauri, then Rodolfo Lucci 5th for Nautalia. In the general classification, there is a new leader, Miroslav Kostra of Sismic. He is even on time with Otis Grimsby, but because of countback, he is the new race leader. So despite not getting a time bonus at the finish, his time bonuses out on the course and those intermediate sprints give him the race lead. Johnny Valtzer's 3rd at a single second in the same time as Yannick Verhoeven. Robel Nagasi now 5th place at 6 seconds, his teammate Kiergo in 6th place at the same time. In the points classification, Davide Lagana is the leader. Robel Nagasi now up to 2nd place, just 5 points back. Johnny Valtzer's 3rd, then Kostra and Casper Bosmans. And no change at the top of the team classification, it is still Kyoto, but the flat stages have ended. It's into the harder terrain now, some hills and some cobblestones. So the final showdown for the win in the GC will be on stages 5, 6, and 7. And at this point, it's hard to predict who's going to end up winning the bike race, because so many riders have a chance. The top 20 riders separated by 24 seconds. So plenty of drama still to come, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for Stage 5. Welcome to Stage 5 of the Benelux Tour, a much tougher stage than the previous 4, which were totally flat stages, but now we have some hills and some cobblestones on the course, very similar to the Omloop Nieuwsblad Classic. And in this race, there are 4 breakaways still ahead of the peloton by around 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Surviving breakaways are Kelvin Moore, Harold Skofgo, Guillermo Quesada, and Dennis Nsengamana. That group was a bit larger at one point, but they have been away since the start of the stage, and a few of the early attackers were dropped. The yellow jersey of Miroslav Kostra has also been dropped from the peloton. He is not in this group of 34 riders, so there should be a new leader at the end of this stage today. So the race is approaching the Muur Kapelmuur. In fact, the breakaway has started it. A famous cobbled climb, we saw it in Tour of Flanders a few races ago. And Kelvin Moore on the attack. He's got Skofgo in his wheel, but the other 2 have been dropped. So Moore and Skofgo looking the strongest from that final breakaway. It looks like Skofgo is starting to suffer as well, so Kelvin Moore clearly the best of this bunch. And very reminiscent of his ride in Strada Bianca. He was in the early attack, and he ended up being the final survivor before finally getting caught in the final kilometers of that classic. We'll see if he can hang on this time. Very brave rider for these attacks, and he has a good chance. With 21 kilometers to ride, he still has a lead of around 3 minutes. If he starts to tire on some of these hobbled hills, it's going to be very hard. Onto the Bosberg now. Once you get tired on these cobbled sections, very hard to keep up any speed at all, and you will lose a lot of time very, very fast. And you see he's starting to look tired, the shoulder's starting to rock. So Kelvin Moore cannot raise his pace anymore, just about trying to hang on and maintain his speed toward the finish. Here comes Peloton, 3.5 minutes behind Moore. They're approaching Nsengamana and Quesada. AlphaTauri, VeloTour, Kyoto, all riding as a team near the front of this bunch. 31 riders still here. Luigi Bella, he's been dropped. That is a surprise for AlphaTauri, because he's a candidate to win this stage today. He must have done some work in this peloton. There's no other reason for him to get dropped this early. 14 kilometers to ride for Kelvin Moore. We'll have to see how the GC shakes out after the stage, because I'm not entirely sure who's in this group and who isn't from the top 10 of the current general classification. But a lot of Kyoto's riders are up here, I think at least 7 of them. So they are no threat at all to lose their places, and in fact Kazim Benabi is starting the chase down of Kelvin Moore. Remember that Harold Skofgo is still between them. Actually, I just saw him in the distance there. He should get caught by this peloton. 11 Ks to go. Scavgo totally exhausted. I think Moore is about to reach that point as well. The gap coming down quite fast. It's under 2.5 minutes at this point. There's still another cobbled climb between here and the finish. So there's no guarantee Kelvin Moore's going to win the stage. He has to go to his limit all the way to the finish. No time to spare. Scavgo about to be caught by the main field. And Moore will hang on to his advantage under 2 minutes now. Well, I say Scavgo about to be caught, but then Adrian Bernard sat up looking very tired. So Kyoto coming back to the front of the race, this time with Hippolyte Toutain. He's no longer a contender to win this race. He did lose some time on the previous stage, but still a very powerful domestique in that role. And he has plenty of riders who can still win this race, including Yannick Verhoeven. On to the final cobbled climb now. You see Kelvin Moore, he's just gone over the top and turned left. 1 minute 22 seconds his advantage now, 4 kilometers to go. He's got this plateau and then a downhill into the finish. I think he should be able to hang on unless a very furious lead-out comes from the group behind. But I think just barely Kelvin Moore is going to survive and win the stage. And he would definitely deserve that as a surprise, because he's had some attempts before that didn't quite work out. An up and down season for Kelvin Moore, but this should bring a smile to his face. He'll turn into the final kilometer. It's an uphill cobbled finish here, and he'll lose a lot of his advantage on this, but they will not catch the American Kelvin Moore. A great victory for Moore. It's actually his second win of the season. He won that famous Stage 8 in the Dauphiné stage race, and he picks up a win from the breakaway this time around. So well done for Kelvin Moore. Let's see how it goes down behind. Egon Callas will push for second place. At Sismic rider Laura Duverne in third, then 2 other Kyoto riders including Verhoeven. And they've got a time gap on the rest of this group here, so that second group with Callas, Duverne, Galati, Verhoeven, and I think it was Zarcone, take a few seconds over the rest of this bunch here. So I believe Yannick Verhoeven should be the next race leader. He was 1 second behind Miroslav Kostra. Otis Grimsby not in that front chase group, neither was Johnny Valters. So once again, Kyoto will be leading a stage race, but we'll see how the rest of the standings shake out. So go ahead and go through the race standings. There's a lot of riders still in the course to finish, but they'll lose so much time, won't have to talk about them anymore in the future stages. So Kelvin Moore from the breakaway, the final survivor of the early attack. He has won the stage by 43 seconds ahead of Egon Callas. Laura Duverne of Sismic is in third at 48 seconds. Oscar Galati fourth for Kyoto in the same time, and so was Yannick Verhoeven in 5th place. Enrico Zarcone finally up there in any race this season. 6th place at 54 seconds. Unfortunately, he will not score points for that performance, but still an encouraging sign for him and the Hackett team. Katarina Beltran of Kyoto in 7th place, leading that large bunch at 1 minute and 6 seconds. In the general classification, Yannick Verhoeven becomes the new leader ahead of his teammate Egon Callas by 6 seconds. Otis Grimsby is now 3rd at 17 seconds. Johnny Valters 4th at 18 seconds. Tony Kirigo 5th for Duomo at 23 seconds. Duverne shoots way up the leaderboard. She is all the way up to 6th place at 24 seconds. And it seems a lot of the sprinters losing time today, although Kasper Bosmans is still up there, and some of the strongmen working their way into the top 10. Johnny Valters has taken the lead in the points classification by a single point ahead of Davide Lagana. Still a close competition between the top 3 in that, so 2 stages left to sort that out. We'll see some mountains to be classified on the next 2 stages, so we'll finally have some riders scoring points for that soon. And in the team classification, Kyoto are the leaders. They've actually extended their lead over a minute ahead of the Hackett team. Kyoto now sitting 1st and 2nd place in GC, and that is not a good sign for the rest of the VeloTour, but still 2 stages where chaos can occur. So we'll see if the other teams try and attack Kyoto. That team is going to do what they did today and just dominate the entire race. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time for Stage 6.